Tom Lee just went on CNBC and he talked about why he thinks Monday could actually be fairly red. We could actually see another red day, the next trading day, and that could kind of mark the bottom. But 1 week from now, he would think that we're actually going to be up from where we are right now. He talks about why the VIX spiking or the volatility index spiking is actually a good thing. What he's seeing in the market, whether he thinks that this could be, a bigger downtrend down the road, or this is just kind of a buying opportunity. We'll be going through all that. If you do want to trade crypto, check out BYDFi underneath the video. A lot of people are a little bit cautious right now. I can see based on the volumes on the backside, but this is typically a good time to be trading if you have low leverage positions. If you're looking to add low leverage positions, I like doing it when we're seeing a bit of a pullback, and then you don't have to really worry about trying to catch the falling knife or get slipped by the falling knife or whatever that is. It doesn't matter because you have a lot of cushion. If you're on 3x leverage, for example, we'd have to fall under $80,000 on Bitcoin. So if we went down to 113 or 110, it wouldn't matter as long as we bounce in the end. If you do want to trade crypto, there's a link to BYDFi underneath the video. You can trade it and get up to a $13,000 bonus. Someone just got this because we just ran this promotion. We're doing it again. But let's get over to Tom Lee and what he just said. By the way, there's a link to my Telegram. I just posted some early access videos in there.
And another big macro market voice. You know him, Tom Lee, co-founder, head of research at Fundstrat. Tom, it's only one day. We get it. We're still, the bull market we heard earlier, still intact. But your take on today's move and what may lie ahead.
Well, Brian, it may be overdue to an extent. We've had a nice rise of 36% since the April lows, and I believe today's decline is the biggest in more than 6 months. But it's good to see the VIX spike. The VIX spiked at 1.29% today. That's the 51st largest ever spike in the VIX. So we're a top 1% move in sort of what I'd say the market seeking safety. And so I think it's a good flush that's happening today. I would like to say the market is, concerned, but as your other guests have said, especially Rick, unless there is a real structural change, this pullback is a buying opportunity.
Wow, 51st biggest move for the VIX. So why is it good that the VIX is responding? What does that signal?
It shows you that investors are seeking protection. And as the VIX is a measure of expected volatility of the largest 100 stocks. And so a spike in the VIX is really a market saying, okay, I need to get out of everything, but I can't sell everything. So let me hedge it by buying volatility. And that is usually a sign of an interim low. I don't want to say I think markets are bottoming today, but we know that the forward returns are pretty good 1 month and even 1 week later. So I would say if someone says, are we higher a week from today? I'm going to say the odds are actually really good. Or, we might even be 60 points higher.
Well, wow. But that's happened. That's what's been happening, as we talked about earlier in the show, Tom, that we've seen these buy the dip buyers come into the market. We get a day like today, the dip buyers come in, we're higher a week later. Do you expect that to happen again, absent some further escalation with China?
Yeah, anything's possible, Brian. And I think that the markets lived through this February to April, and it was a day by day panic, and maybe there's echoes of trauma people are thinking about, and we do know that this. These are important issues. So I wouldn't want to be glib in saying, hey, this is nothing because the market is making a big move. But to me, if I said, okay, what are the reasons stocks have been attractive for the past 12 months? It's been about the innovation coming from AI, and it's the innovation as Wall Street looks onto the blockchain, and now it's the Fed that's beginning an easing cycle. These three things have structural tailwinds that aren't disrupted because of potential even rare earth dispute with China.
Do you want to see the market not end on its lows? We're not on our lows right now.
Well, it's Friday, and it's a long weekend. So as you know, a lot of people like to shut down their computers. So I wouldn't be surprised if we might see the market close on its lows, but to me, I don't think it's a signal. As you know, markets rarely bottom on Fridays anyway, so maybe Monday is the flush, but then, that's the buying opportunity.
All right, so some interesting thoughts there. I mean, the VIX popping up to show you that people are fearful, right? Like there's some expected volatility right now, and people have been naturally cautious. Even though we've hit all-time highs, there have been a handful of stocks that have just gone up and to the right over and over and over and are very expensive. But I've shown this before. A lot of the top tech companies, like the Mag 7, a handful of them in there are not priced very expensive. Whether it's Google, Amazon, both being, Amazon being at all-time record lows for price to earnings moving forward, Google being at 23 or something like that, Facebook or Meta being at 25 forward price to earnings, Microsoft is at 30 or 32, which isn't that expensive even for them. Nvidia at 30, 35 for a company that's growing 60%. It doesn't seem that expensive. Now there are expensive parts of the market and you have to be careful, but I think people are naturally cautious. I'm more cautious than usual during this market rally, from what I can tell. So it is interesting to watch. I mean, Tom Lee's thoughts were interesting there too. Maybe we could have a Monday flush. If we see Monday and it's red like this, I'm going to be buying a lot. Right? Like I'm going to be going heavier. I've been buying equities because I've been underexposed for a while on equities, especially when you consider how my main job is talking about crypto. So I feel underexposed there. So I've been looking for good opportunities on some of these big tech companies that are growing quickly. And yeah, we're starting to get them. There are like Meta's down 10, 15% from its all-time high, right? Bitcoin still only 10% away from its all-time high. It hit an all-time high less than a week ago. I have been leverage trading. I opened a new levered position. I'm down slightly on it right now, but I'm not too worried. That's why I said at the beginning of the video, like you don't have to time it perfectly. If you think this weekend is going to be some manipulation, then Monday maybe we'll see the bottom, or Tuesday or whatever. As long as we don't fall 30% from here and you open up a 3x position, then you don't really have to be worried about it, right? As long as you think that we're going to continue the rally because company earnings are going to be good. The economy is good right now. We're growing at nearly 4% on GDP. Inflation seems to be fine. The Fed's lowering rates. We continue to see the biggest entities in the world buying more and more Bitcoin and turning more pro-crypto. We have spot ETFs coming and staking coming. All this stuff for crypto, very bullish stuff. And people were bullish 7 days ago, yet now they're bearish. There's fear in the market. I just saw the fear and greed index in the stock market hit fear, even though we were just hitting all-time highs within the last few days. Yet we're still in fear for the fear and greed index. It's insane. So yeah, I think there's an opportunity right now. If you're looking over the long term, right? Anything can happen in the next few days, but even a week out, usually we do pretty well. If this is the start of a bigger downtrend, I'll just continue plowing money in the market. I'm not going, all in on Monday or something if we see a dip, but I'll definitely up the size of my normal purchases. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Again, if you do want to trade, check out BY DeFi. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next one.